leaders create minimum conditions.
We can speak of change, but we don't like change. We do all these things because we don't have the luxury of time. Ability to see comes from someone removing darkness. People who take risks often get high returns. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy it. A mission is what really defines your purpose for existence. Stability and growth require hard work. Studying, reading, knowing how other people live before you came on earth. So read voraciously, because in studying, you remain humble. You see that you are not the first one. What is the source of competitive advantage for a young person? So competitive advantage is not in biology, it's in exertion. It's not in natural resources, it's in how people create what's not available. That first meeting was not mwanawani, it was not avawa, it was you met at a particular level of understanding. Yeah? The older I grow, the more questions I ask, and the less answers I have. Good afternoon, student leaders, and all the students who gathered this afternoon. So this mentorship work, we began really thinking we should get old people who have retired above 70 and bring them to the country, to the media, to the leadership of the country and say, we have nothing to give you other than these two words, thank you for all you did. The right decisions you made when you had the opportunity to make those decisions as fathers and mothers. Leadership starts in a home. It's not so much the big titles. The decisions you made as leaders at districts, local government, central government, in the academic world, the science world. To just say we thank you, because if a country can't thank those who have served, it cannot serve those who want to replace them. But then it kept expanding, and I thank the Passay team led by Matthew, because they kind of brought intergenerational thank you. I think that's what happened in March of this year in Entebbe, to say, while we thank the older people, we are also demonstrating to the young that it pays to serve your country, to be a good person, for yourself and for your country, not to compete with anyone. Huh? And so we find that to mentor is one of the biggest responsibilities a person can do. Fathers mentor by the actions they take in a home. If they are negative, they are still mentoring. So a father who enters a home and children run away or they hide, daddy has come, he is mentoring. He is showing the young generation what kind of father this young generation should be. A mother who enters and asks the person in the kitchen how they are today, what they cooked, if they are working mothers, is demonstrating to the children in a home that you are important, but there is this person who seems to be invisible in the home, but who, if you don't have, the food is not cooked. A father who in the morning is jumping in a car and sees someone sweeping the compound and says, "Abana bagenze kusomero lwalera babo You understand Luganda? Just a word like that to people they call shamba boys. Just because someone is sweeping the guy. That word makes the life of that person or that person's week. All that is mentoring. All that is mentoring. And so we mentor by actual teaching, but we even mentor more by our actions. When we restrain ourselves against particular temptation, we are mentoring someone who will never know. I went to speak at an event of East African business community, and the MC said, I have a story to share. I was a young girl in Male Stewart, and this fellow came looking for people to recruit as event managers, and we were all young and giggling, and so I kept waiting. What will this person say? I did. I said, he took us, gave us work, but he taught us the value of hard work. I mean, this is 20-something years ago. How would I have known that I'm mentoring someone who would be the president of East African Business Council? So our actions really matter. So that's why this word, mentorship, very little used, but extremely needed in a country that is changing rapidly, where the young and the old seem to share particular values, and some of those values often not good. And then we lack this voice that says, perhaps there's a way to get things done without fear or favor. So the question that came to my mind when I was coming is, what is the source of competitive advantage for a young person? Do we all know the meaning of the term competitive advantage? Yes, so I'm glad that you know, so I don't have to define it for you. If you are young, there are certain things you all share. So when I look at you, I see a particular age. These days, young people seem to go to university much younger than us. So I see guild presidents who look like my son's age. My son is 20 years old and my daughter 19. I see people in that age group. Or maybe it's just we forget that even me, that's how I looked when if you ask my sister, she will tell you that's how we looked when we were younger at university. So in terms of age, you can say we have a median age where all sort of face similar things, whether it is growing up, whether it is restraint, we share that. Education, if we are all educated to a particular level, that's an advantage we all share. So there's no competitive age anyone has. So where I grew up, my two siblings had to be removed from school for me to go to primary one. And these are very smart people. They are now in their 60s. They didn't have the chance to go to school because there was no disregarded idea called UPE and USE. Those who were not there at the time, to just see a blackboard was such a huge advantage. So, but now education is available, online, offline. So it's not a competitive advantage. You all share some things, especially at university. When you have a stable country, that's a competitive advantage for everyone because there are countries around us and in the world where bombs are falling on homes and children can't go to school and universities are closing. But if you're stable, you thank God for that. You don't take it for granted and you work to keep it stable in ways that God gives you. If you have basic manufacturing, because we're not an industrial society, we are largely a pre-industrial society emerging slowly with a small middle class that is Western oriented. When I was coming in the car, I read what Professor Mazrui, who was a teacher of Professor Mamdani, when I came to university, he was living. He said Africans tend to have Western tastes without Western production techniques. So we dress nicely, but our production techniques and capabilities are not of the same people who make these clothing. He said, we have Western urbanization without Western industry, because industry and manufacturing is where centers of living and middle class emerges. So you have a very rapid urbanization that is so disorganized with many slums because you don't have industry to take in those people. And he said, we are secularizing, we are abandoning faith and religion without science. He said Africans have a contradiction because the Japanese West grew their industry without necessarily abandoning their culture and language. So are the Chinese. So are many people that we see of the industrialized countries.
Leaders create minimum conditions.
We can speak of change, but we don't like change.
We do all these things because we don't have the luxury of time. Ability to see comes from someone removing darkness. People who take risks often get high returns. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy it.